Hi, my name is Sydney, and today we'll be talking about the Science Max video titled Simple Machines. So in this video, Phil was trying to move a really heavy machine. I forget what he was calling it, but he was trying to move it across the parking lot and off, or like onto the loading dock and into the building, and he was trying to do it by himself. So to start off, Phil started talking about levers. So a lever is just like a long object, like a 2x4 or something like that, and you put something under it so it can pivot back and forth. And the thing you put under it is called a fulcrum. So you can move the fulcrum point, or if you move the fulcrum point like off-centered, like not in the middle, you can pick up heavier things with lighter things. So Phil demonstrated this by off-centering the fulcrum point like closer to like the heavier object, which was a big book, and he was able to lift this big book with a really tiny book. Phil uses this to lift the giant machine up using only one finger with the lever. So the next thing that Phil uses to move this machine is rollers. So rollers are just like circular objects that can help like roll something. So for an example, he used colored pencils to move a book. And he also mentioned that rollers were used in ancient times, and it's actually how the pyramids were built, because they like using those like big stone bricks, they were able to use rollers to move them to build the pyramids, which I thought was pretty cool. So Phil uses a bunch of plastic pipes to move the machine. So using the lever, he's able to lift it up a little bit so he can put the rollers underneath of it. And this worked, but it does have some flaws. It's kind of hard to do by yourself because you have to keep moving the rollers in front of the object. And it works good until you have to go downhill, because once you start going downhill, the object is just going to want to keep rolling, and it's not going to want to stop. So you can move the roller so it keeps going. So Phil started talking about pulleys. So pulleys help change the direction of force. And he used a pulley system to pick up a book. So it's pretty much a rope going through like a metal thing that's called a pulley, and one end of the rope goes around whatever you're trying to lift, and the other one you use to like lift it up and down. So when you pull the rope down, the object goes up. So this is also referred to as mechanical advantage, which is pretty much just spreading out the force over, or spreading out force over like longer pulley systems to lift larger weights. So the more pulleys that you have in a pulley system, the easier it makes it to pull larger weights, or like larger objects. So for example, if you have like 5 pulleys in a system, you're only going to have to lift 1/5 of the weight of the object you're trying to lift. So that does make it a lot easier. So Phil did a mini max with pulleys. He was able to pull up his body weight using 8 pulleys, and he then used the pulleys to move the machine downhill also at his own pace. So he had, that's later on. He used a pulley to be able to use the rollers to roll it downhill, so it wouldn't just go flying down the downhill ramp or whatever. So then Phil goes on to talk about ramps. So ramps help you move something up. So he was able to use a ramp to pull a book up it with just like a really skinny string, because ramps help distribute force more evenly. So to pull the machine up to the loading dock, Phil used a system of pulleys, so 3 pulleys on the loading dock and then 2 on the machine itself, so that's 5 pulleys in total. So he only had to lift 1/5 of the weight of the machine. He used the pulleys in order to like tip the machine over on its side, and then he was going to put rollers under it while it's on its side, so it's a little bit easier to pull up the ramp. and he was able to accomplish this. I thought this video was pretty cool because it showed how you can use simple machines to lift heavy things on your own. Thank you.